respect the flag. That's all I can say.
Alright, this is how to make bagels. 4 cups of bread flour. Bread flour is high gluten, and that's what you want for bagels. Alright. 1 tablespoon. Well, that's 4 cups of flour. Bread flour. 1 tablespoon yeast. Tablespoon of non-diastatic malt, and 2 teaspoons sugar. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll just turn the mixer on just to kind of mix that together, the dry ingredients, get them mixed a little bit, and then I'll dump in the water. You want 1 1/3 cup water, warm. If you want to nuke it for 30 seconds in a glass container, and it'll be lukewarm. Okay, so I got that. 4 cups bread flour, tablespoon yeast, tablespoon non-diastatic malt powder, 1 1/3 cup water. You're good to go. And when you mix it, you got to mix it for a good 10-15 minutes, because you really want to activate the gluten so it becomes a good chewy dough like bagels have. Anyway, then after it mixes, you let it. So I'm not going to obviously show you mixing it for 15 minutes. But anyway, once it's mixed, I just put it in a grease bowl, lightly cover it with a damp towel, plastic wrap, whatever you want to do. If you use plastic wrap, it's got to be lightly over it, don't seal it. Then let it sit an hour, hour and a half. Then it'll be ready to work, and then I'll film at that point. Alright, you take your dough after it's risen for roughly an hour, hour and a half. Dump it on your cutting board. You don't need to beat it down or anything. Slice it. I slice it into eight. So it makes 8 bagels, pretty good sized bagels. You can go 10, 12, whatever you want to do. So that doesn't really make a difference. There's no right way, no wrong way to do it. So you can see, I just use a dough scraper to cut it. Works perfect. There you go. Then you just take it. You want to roll it into a ball. So it's pretty simple. You can do this also on the cutting board, but it's got to be a little bit tacky. So you can see it's pretty simple. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then what you do is you'll put these on you leave them on your cutting board, put them on a cookie sheet, whatever you want to do. You let them rise for about a half an hour. So usually what I'll do is I'll take my water bath, and because of the size of bagels I make, I use 4 quarts of water and 1 tablespoon of non-diastatic malt powder per quart. So 1 tablespoon per quart. So if you use 2 quarts of water, 2 tablespoons. There you go. Now this one here is going to be small. So anyway, you just roll them into balls. You can get them tighter than that. You can see that one there is not really the best. Flip it over, that side looks better. So nobody will know. Anyway, cover them with plastic wrap lightly. Let them rise for another 30 minutes. So what I do is I take the water bath and this is the pot I use here, okay? This is a pretty good sized one, so I use 4 quarts of water. So what I do is I put it on a low flame, okay? And it takes about a half hour for it to reach the temperature I want it to. And you can see I already put 4 quarts of water, 4 tablespoons of non-diastatic malt powder, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. Well, you can use 1 per quart, so it's up to you. And you boil that, and once it reaches boiling point, we'll come back to it. Alright, it's been about 30 minutes. As you can see, these are pretty good sized bagels. Take it off your sheet. You don't have to lay it upside down, I just happen to lay it upside down, okay? Then I take my finger, and right in the middle of it, very slowly, wiggle it, insert your finger, just slip it in there. You don't want to jam your finger in there. So you just want to slowly slip it in there. Then you start spinning it. Anyway, and as you spin it, you can see, it makes a hole. So literally, it's that simple. You know, just do each one the same way. Spin it. The reason I flip it over is to get, the hole the same. You want the hole to be the same. And you can see how big some of these are. So if you don't want big bagels, then obviously you just do it, cut them into more pieces. And what I do is I boil 4 at the same time. That's a big pot. Because I fit a gallon, I put a gallon of water in it. But you can make the bagels smaller if you want. Then you can use salt. They sell an everything mix. So you can use that. Not saying anybody particular product in mind. This I bought. It's for everything. I add a little extra salt with it. You can go poppy seed, caraway seed, salt. I just use popcorn salt, pretzel salt, or rather pretzel salt, not popcorn salt. Pretzel salt because it's real coarse. So that's what I use for the salt bagels. Onion bagels. If you do like an onion stick, you just take some dried onions and put it in water. And you let them absorb it, and then you take the onion stick. Instead of doing like I'm doing, you see how I'm doing them round? With an onion stick, you can just roll it out like that into a stick. Well, I call them onion sticks. But you can just roll it out. You can roll it out to a long shaft if you want, Depends on your preferences. You take the onions and you soak them in water for 15-20 minutes, whatever, until they're rehydrated, and you're good to go. There you go, 8 bagels. You don't coat them yet with your seasonings. You want to cook them 2 minutes on one in the boiling water. Cook them 2 minutes on one side and a minute on the other. Then take them out, put them on your cookie sheet, then top them with your salt, leave them for plain, your everything mix, onions. You want to put cheese on it, you can slap a slice of cheese on there. You cook them in the oven at 425 degrees. basically 20-25 minutes. Going to depend on your oven. Check them after like 15 minutes, and if you notice they're all golden brown like you want them, you're good. That's all there is to it. I'll show you me boiling them when the water gets to the boiling point, which is close. Then we'll boil them, and I'll film that too. As you can see, I didn't show me putting the bagels in, but basically, take a bagel, drop it in. 2 minutes on one side, 1 minute on the other. The bath, I used 4 quarts of water, 4 tablespoons of the malt powder, a couple tablespoons of sugar. You can go 2 or 4 depending on how sweet you want it. That's entirely up to you. The malt barley flour or powder, there's diastatic and non-diastatic gives them a little bit more shininess. It's a little bit sweeter than diastatic. Also, diastatic foams a lot more, whereas non-diastatic doesn't. You can use either one. And you can see here I have a actual bagel ladle. It's not called a ladle, call it a screen, whatever you want to call it. But there's a name for it. But it's perfect for scooping them out, because you see the fine mesh wires, so when you scoop them out, all the water drips off. Once you scoop them out, you put them on your tray, and put whatever you want on it. I'm going to make a couple with everything, and a couple with cheese, and probably plain, or maybe maple and brown sugar. Those are not maple and brown sugar, but cinnamon sugar. Those are pretty good, so I may do those also. Alright, that's pretty close to 3 minutes there. Like I say, you scoop them out, you set them on here, then you put your seasonings on them, whatever your toppings are. Cinnamon and sugar, there's no right or wrong amount. Everything, same thing. So whatever you want to put on them. Cheese, obviously you want to have the cheese real thin. So when you bake them at 4 1/4 for 15 to 20 minutes, they come out good. So anyway, that was finally her down. So you just scoop them out. You know, let them drain for a second or two. Put them on your cookie sheet. I use cornmeal on the bottom of the cookie sheet so the bagels don't stick. That's just a good way to do it. Alright, then like I say, I'm going to do a couple of these, everything. And it really just depends on how much you want to put on there, what toppings you want to use. Like me, I have a bad habit of using a lot of salt. So for the everything bagels, I generally add a little bit of extra salt, as you can see there. Hopefully you can see that. I know you can't see really good, but hey. There we go. Okay. Then what I'll do is I'll take the cheese, and I tried to cut the cheese fairly thin. I don't have a cheese cutter. This is still a little thick though. And just basically put the cheese over it just like that. So, you know, nothing special about that. You know, you can see, I don't know if you can see or not. But there you go. Everything, these two are everything. Those are cheese. I'll cut another little piece for here. Alright, let me show you how to do these bagels here real quick. You just take them, drop them into boiling water. Just remember, this one's an onion stick. Just remember, 2 minutes on one side, then a minute on the other. Bake them at 4 1/4 till they're golden brown, and you're ready for a nice bagel. And nothing better than your house smelling like fresh bagels. I used to work at New York Bagel when I was a teenager, like most of us did, our family. And you start making a variety of bagels in your house. It reminded me of being a teenager working there, how it smelled so great. The house smelled like a New York bagel. Anyway, I'll film again once I pull them out of the oven. Alright, I'm going to put some toppings on these. I grind my own cinnamon, but you can just use store-bought cinnamon if you want, but I just happen to grind all my cinnamon. It's just because it's better, is why. And so anyway, your cinnamon and sugar ones, you sprinkle a little bit. I use a baker's sugar. It's really refined. And yes, you can use too much. So there you go. Then for the onions, for the onion stick, I just take a little bit of onions and just kind of sprinkle it on that. You know, as many as you want. Now this one here, you would cook this on the top shelf of your oven because you want the to brown the onions. And there you go. They are topped and ready to go in the oven. Like I say, you put it at the top. There you go. Cheese is already melting. It's already smelling like a bagel factory in here. And then I'll pull them out of the oven. And you'll see a shot of the ceiling. Alright, there you go. And so anyway, I'll pull them out of the oven 15-20 minutes, and then I'll get a shot of them being golden brown. Or if I screw up, they'll be burned, either way. So anyway, that's what we'll do. Alright, we're going to pull first set of bagels. This would be the one that was on the middle tray or bottom tray. If you take a look, these everything ones could have stayed in a little bit longer, but you got to be careful because the bottom of them can get crispy. So I have them on the top, in the middle of the oven. I have 3 racks in there, so you can see. You might even be able to hear that they're still sizzling. Those are the 2 cheese ones. Those are the everything ones. I didn't make a salt one. The onion stick obviously is still in there. Anyway, that's basically that's it. So there you go. Prep time is about 30 minutes, an hour to hour and a half to let them sit. Then again, form them into the bagel shape, let them sit for roughly another 30 minutes, throw them in your water bath for 2 minutes on one side, 1 minute on the other side. Add your ingredients after you put them on your cookie sheets, pop them in the oven, 4 1/4 for roughly 20 minutes, 25 minutes, depending on your oven. Keep a close eye on them. When they're golden brown, they're basically done. These could have cooked a little bit longer, these 2 everything, but they're still good. And the other ones, looking at these other ones, they're probably maybe 4 minutes behind these ones. And there you go. That's how you make bagels. And give me a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs up anyway. If not, who cares? Alright, and here's some other bagels here. These are the 2 cinnamon and sugar. Another everything. That's a plain, obviously. This is a onion stick. A little skimpy on the onions on part of it, but what are you going to do? So anyway, there you go. That's how you make bagels. I hope you enjoyed the video. And thumbs up if you did, thumbs down if you didn't, or whatever. It don't really matter. But just thanks for watching. And oh yes, I should probably pop one of these bagels open. Well, it's a little hard to tear a bagel open. I'll take a bite. You can see, nice and chewy. A little bit of crunch. And the crunch depends on how long you cook it, how long you boil it in the water. If you have them on your middle shelf, the bottom will get a little crusty, obviously before the rest of it. But you can see it's pretty good tasting. And yes, I shouldn't be talking with my mouth full. So anyway, thanks for watching. But anyway, that is a delicious warm bagel, fresh out of the oven. Hope you enjoy, because I am.